Hey guys, welcome back to another whiteboard chat, and today we are going to do part 3 of the updated Dutch test markers. So I posted the other two on my channel already. These are the markers that were added to the organic acid section of the test, which is at the bottom. Keep in mind, again, these are metabolites, right? Because this is a urine test, so we're seeing end product metabolites. Specifically looking at B-Hydroxyisovalerate, which is going to be an end product of biotin. Most of you are familiar with biotin, or maybe you're not, but it is a B vitamin. There are a couple other potential indicators of B vitamin status on the test with metabolites B6, B12. There's also methylation, which would give you some indication potentially. This is definitely a really nice addition. First off, what does biotin do? Now we're going to look at some specific biotin enzymes because it has different functions. And these aren't necessarily all of the functions, these are just primary ones. First one is acetylcarbolase. So this is going to be involved in lipid synthesis from acetate. So we're thinking fatty acid synthesis or lipid synthesis. So second one, 3-methyl-carotenool carbolase, leucine catabolism. So most of you are familiar with leucine. Now this is definitely going to be important in our population, especially because we're consuming what you may consider abnormal amounts of leucine because we're looking to maximize muscle protein synthesis. So we're consuming a certain amount, most of us, to elicit that full response. So this is going to be pretty important. Propanol carbolase. All right, so this conversion of amino acids and propionate to glucose in the liver. So this is going to tie right into this next one, which is pyruvate carbolase, which is going to be involved in liver gluconeogenesis. So we're talking about actual utilization of those amino acids and glucose for an energy source if we need that. Now we know that that's kind of an inefficient process. Generally for us to use, amino acids aren't going to be our first choice. We're going to mobilize fatty acids. We're going to release glucose from the liver or different tissues and things of that nature as probably a more preferred fuel source or energy substrate. But we do have this ability if needed. What are we actually looking for? Generally, an elevation, this is going to be the indicator we're looking at, is going to be indicative of a biotin deficiency. So this would be common in people that have potentially skin problems and hair loss. I mean, that's why we see biotin marketed as, marketed in like hair, skin, and nail formulas and things of that nature. Those are things that obviously there's a lot of other hormonal and metabolic or nutrient issues that could potentially exacerbate these things. However, that's something we can actually look at and quantify and then kind of like match it up with this B-hydroxyisovalerate marker. Now, these items are obviously things that are a little more difficult to quantify. It's kind of going to be difficult for you to have any indication of what your leucine catabolism is like or your lipid synthesis necessarily, but we can see this. So one other little caveat there is a lot of vitamins, especially other B vitamins, we know that we require certain enzymes and cofactors to actually make these vitamins work. So for example, looking at like intrinsic factor for vitamin B12, well, you could be taking in biotin but not necessarily, but still seeing this marker's off. That could be an enzyme issue, that could be maybe the form of vitamin you're taking. I would suggest something like D-biotin, potentially that's going to be found, like Morpho-Multi has it, other better multivitamin formulations potentially have it, better brands, right? So there's that, or you could just not be absorbing it. So, if you have some really chronic gut issue that's potentially disrupting micronutrient absorption, which is certainly possible, then that could be a reason that you're having an elevation or discrepancy in that marker. Obviously, fixing the underlying cause is going to be part of it, but we might need additional micronutrient support, take a better form, take more, blah, blah. It is a water-soluble vitamin, so like chances of toxicity are extremely low, like other B vitamins. Now, there is potential for toxicity, but it's just low. You don't probably want to take 20 or 30 times the amount that you normally would. So those are things to consider. But yeah, I mean, pretty simple one today. That kind of sums up the 3-part little series I wanted to do on the additional markers. So you guys can see the other 2 on my channel, which will be linked with this video. So go check those out, learn the updates, keep up with the updates, and enjoy.